successfully just went through a milestone as the EFF, a 10-year milestone. And Tinabange, that have followed you from back then, it's just from the time you were expelled from the ANC. It's been a very long journey for Wena. What did it take to get here, and what does this milestone mean for Wena as Julius, for the EFF as a party as well?
Well, it's a demonstration of staying power, which came from hard work, sweat, characterized by discipline and loyalty. Because most people have got very good ideas, but they lack the discipline and the ability to see through that which they stand for. And I think that the collective leadership of the EFF was able to achieve 10 years of its existence as a solid political party without a former minister, without a former president behind it, without MEC, mayors, without white capital putting money into it. Because you must know that most of the political formations that were formed in South Africa historically have had capital behind them. The Oppenheimers formed the Democratic Party, they formed the National Party, they made them come together to form the DA, and any other political party that gets to be formed after 1994, they all have money. I mean, if you look at Musima Imani now, you look at Rise, South Africa, all of them, when we declare political funding, they are not yet tested, but already millions are being pumped into those political formations. So we did not have that. We only had a political will, and it is that political will that saw us through.
All right, political willing. Ngibambele yona khona lapho ngoba ke ngisafuna ukuzwa ukuthi ababukeli bethu bathini. Njengenjalo mbukeli hlezi kuyintokozo ukuzwa ukuthi nina ngabe nithini. Thike sizwe ukuthi nina ngabe nitheni enkundleni zethu zokuxhumana. Right, Nkosi Khona Milan go Facebook says, Mr. Malema is a great leader who speaks his truth with conviction, but I don't see him becoming president. How would he behave if he became the leader of the country? At the Daily Teta. Mr. Malema, let me let you respond to Nkosi Khona ngapamotis tola comments from ababugeli.
Well, leadership must be characterized by accountability and must be always be ready to tell the truth. Most people don't like the truth. It doesn't matter whether you are standing or sitting down or sleeping. The truth will never change. Since my active political participation in the national discourse, I've had so many accusations against me that he said this, he insulted this one, and all of that. All of which has never been proven in any court of law or any established institution that said this is what we will not accept as a speech in South Africa. You see, the problem with the freedom of speech is that it allows people to say things that are uncomfortable. But the fact that you are uncomfortable, it doesn't make it a hate speech or it doesn't make it a lie. It's you being uncomfortable. Is it a true? Is it a fact? Is it consistent with the Constitution? If the answer is yes, deal with your uncomfortability.
All right.
And it has been our duty to make the comfortable uncomfortable and the uncomfortable comfortable.
All right. Let's bring in another comment. How sure is he that the EFF will do better if they come into power? And I think I'd also maybe layer this with the fact that one of my coalition governments also becoming a thing. So clean sweep by saying clean sweep.
We're taking a clean sweep, but we are government now in Kuruleni. Look at the type of work we're doing. We are government now in Johannesburg. Before I came in here, I made some rounds here in Bramfontein. I like what I'm seeing on the streets. There's a huge improvement from the time I was here to when this municipality was under the DA and now under the EFF coalition in the Johannesburg city. So. And we've been in government in different municipalities, in Nelson Mandela, in Mohali City, in eThekwini, in Ekurhuleni, in Johannesburg. This has been more than 10 months now. Not a single councillor of the EFF who is an MMC or in power has ever been accused of stealing a cent, hiring a wife, or engaged in any shenanigans that are not consistent with what is required of a public servant. So that's a clear demonstration of what will happen when we take over government. Clean government, accountable government, corrupt-free government that delivers services to our people. And I think that whoever conduct research in South Africa should be able to go into municipalities where EFF is leading and be able to give an account of what have they done in less than a year in the portfolios where they are.
Okay, ithi ke sizwe ke nabantu sihlezi nabo khona la studio namhlanje ukuthi bathini ngoba ngifuna ukuthi si-engage because this needs to be very robust Baba Malema. Ithi ke ngize ngapha ke sikubingelela sikwamukele ohlelweni. Ithi ke sizwe ukuthi wena ulibona njani lo daba esikhuluma ngalo namhlanje. We're sharing a moment with the CIC namhlanje. Umbono wakho uthini? Sawubona.
Yebo lekai.
Rona le kae?
Ro. Mr. President, na ke kopa ho botsa ntho one. Rena le problem ya load shedding this time. Like land, you try to help about to land back. Still una le problem. So if we now take over of power, are you gonna help us car all the problems dealing on our country? And also, ke le happily the research we did o khona o dula di scandal tsa di fraud di khona di palang ko publisher ke media but wena khona o di dia o diwa.
Okay, thank you.
Respond.
No, I think tabele bolelang taba hore load shedding a se bothata ba ileng hore bo re pale ke bothata ba ileng hore bo dia ke batho ba ileng hore ba nyaka hore re sa shumisha malatlha re ye to independent power producers tše ileng hore di owner ke bagotsi ba bona. So o ka lebelela una le company ba bitsa hore ke Remgro e owner ke Rupert if you lo matla ya hore le yona e thomo producer motlagase. So ge ba tswalela or power station ya malatla a isa nyake then motlagase ro thoma fa ke Rupert and he makes a lot of money out of that. So that's why ba kitimisha or re tswalele di power station tja malatla even when we don't have readily available electricity. Many of them have been given licenses to produce power independently, but majority of them can't produce anything significant to match the grid's demand. And premature closing of coal power stations will lead to the total collapse of the grid. Le fasikele lintši problem ya rena mo South Africa makgowa a ile ya re senya menagano. So but ba nagana gore for bona gore ba phele ba swantse ba tle makgweng ba tle Johannesburg and Johannesburg ke re makgweng I mean every city ha o le Polokwane batho ba nyoko ya Polokwane o le kae ba nyoko where white people are found. Mara le ka tswela ka montle wa ya kwa bo Captain Park o tsena ka moara di area tja bo Ikuruleni. There are a lot of pieces of land tje leng gore be le di plus magwa ba di shile. They are not doing anything with those pieces of land. Same thing in the West Rand, the same thing o ya ka mo Tshwane o ka re ya ka sighting ya Bronkhorstspruit. Le fase ke le lentši mara ge o ka lebella Johannesburg as is now a ona le fase. And if you have a vision of South Africa through the lenses of Johannesburg, then you will not have an appreciation that there's enough land for us to work it and feed ourselves and feed many other nations.
And ngizotanda ukuthi ke touch on the land issue as well as other issues that are closest and dearest to inhliziyo yakho. I think somele ukuthi siyothengisa njengamanje. Mbukeli, while see Daily Thetha sithatha ku Daily Thetha namhlanje in the special edition of A Moment with Sambisana no Commander in Chief we Economic Freedom Fighters Julius Silo Malema namhlanje ohlelweni. Njengenjwayelo ke siyathanda ke ukuzwa nakini babukeli kungakho kumele sishale ucingo 011 kusenjalo ke ithi ke sizwe ukuthi ngabenteni nezinkundleni zethu zokuxhumana as we continue ngale nkulumo. Right, uTeboho Hope Mokele ku Facebook uthi I would like to ask Mr. Malema, is he against the struggle of our people or against the ANC? #Daily Thetha.
Well, I'm with the people against the ANC. I'm not against the people. We need to remove the ANC from power. And it's not even about the EFF. So the history of the liberation movement in the continent is such that after 30 years, it becomes self-destructive. It becomes a snake that bites and eats itself. So whether the EFF is there or not, the ANC is going to die a natural death. The same thing as ZANU-PF. If you go to Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF is not a popular party. It's a criminal syndicate that steals elections, uses the army and the police to intimidate people. So Mugabe lost elections to Tsvangarai. The only difficulty, and Mugabe, because he was a smart politician, amended the constitution and said, for everyone who wins presidential elections must meet a threshold. So Tsvangarai won and got more than Mugabe, but did not meet the required threshold. But he got the majority vote, which in simple mathematics, he defeated Mugabe. That's why there was a government of national unity, which helped Mugabe to regain the ground and then removed Tsvangarai. So that's what happens everywhere. The same thing, Frelimo in Mozambique, Swapo and them. So the ANC's time is done because liberators do not know what to do with power after political liberation. They mimic their own colonizers. So ANC people, when they get into a car, they go into the car on the left at the back. The driver opens the car from the back at the left. If you ask them, why do you do that? They don't know. But they saw white people who were in power doing it, and they thought power is to go on the left of the car. When we arrived in parliament, we were calling them not honorable because they're not honorable.
And usakhuluma nge-ANC bamalema ngicela ungena lapho. I think seziye abayiningi inkulumo ikakhulukazi masibuka ukuthi when President Cyril Ramaphosa bengena, I think the EFF was one of the people who actually rallied behind him. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi kujike kuphi.
We never rallied behind him. I say, when you come in as a president, we must give you a chance to demonstrate your capacity. You can't when there is a new president. The same thing with mayors. Once they go in, you pull back a bit and give them a chance to prove themselves. And President Ramaphosa did not prove himself, actually did the extreme opposite of what he said he was going to do. Not once has the EFF ever supported Ramaphosa. We've been in loggerheads with Ramaphosa from the days of Marikana till to date. So, but I was still making a point that we went into the parliament and we're not calling them honorable members because we believe they are murderers who are led by murderers who killed our people in Marikana. And they said, no, you can't call us by name. You must call us honorable members. And we said, why do you say that? They said, no, the rules say that. We said, show us in the rules. That was 20 years when they were in parliament. Show us in the rules why you say we must call you honorable members. There was nothing like that in the rules that say call each other honorable members. It said, don't call each other by name. So I can call Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so. But they called each other honorable members and assumed it was a rule because they found white people calling themselves honorable members. So they mimic everything that their colonizers did. So if you listen to Lindiwe Zulu and the rest of them, when you challenge her in Teta Ye, instead of giving you an account of how they're going to help you, she's going to tell you, we liberated you. They are stuck there. They don't know how to go beyond liberation. Every time you criticize them, we liberated you. People died in exile. People went to prison for you. We're being blackmailed for that. That's why the self-destruction, because they're stuck. So the ANC, when it dies and gets out of power after 30 years, there must be a solid alternative of our people. And that's why the EFF comes in to say, we are here to carry on the struggle beyond political power into economic power, because political power without economic power is meaningless.
Ezinye izinto ke maybe issues that abantu abasha are talking about, ngiyazi ke futhi ukuthi EFF is making inroads ikakhulukazi with the youth electorate. Siya sabona the student command isebenza kakhulu ukuthola the young people. Bakhuluma ngobugebengu ukuthi crime idlangile la eMzansi Africa, and you are on record usithi the National Director of Public Prosecutions has got another agenda and not a crime fighting agenda. What will it take ukuthi mhlambe sinqobe izinto ezifana nobugebengu, and what is the EFF going to do about crime in South Africa?
You know, criminals don't have ears. They only have a skin, and they hear through the skin. So you can't have a government that has a conversation with criminals. Any criminal who takes up a gun against law enforcement must be dropped down. We must never negotiate with thugs. You know, there was a period when Bheki Cele was still Bheki Cele. It's old now. There was a period where there was a December. I forgot the year. There was a period where there was a December without a single cash in transit haste. Without one. Because he had taken over the on-ramps, off-ramps, freeways, visible policing, and they were dropping them dead. So we cannot negotiate with criminals. How do you wake up in the morning, 7 people are killed in KwaMashu, and yet we are not in a war? A war must be declared on criminals. And once we declare a war on criminals, it means we have to suspend certain rights of those criminals. Because why should you enjoy the right that you are denying other people to enjoy? So in South Africa, we have seen criminals being idolized, criminals being given more power than ordinary law-abiding citizens. My leadership style is very different. I'm such that when there is a problem in KwaMashu, and the people there in KwaMashu know what is the problem, and they know the person who's the problem, we need to invest the resources to root out the problem in KwaMashu. Because this crime you are talking about is not in Hyde Park where I stay. It's not in Sandton. It's where our people are staying. And the people who are doing this thing are known. The people who are selling nyaupe to our children are known. They sell nyaupe to our children in the township to destroy the future of these ones of ours in the township. Take the same money of nyaupe to take their own biological children to the best schools and guarantee their future. So we ought to declare crime against them. Every time illegal alcohol is found and destroyed, there are cameras everywhere to show that alcohol that they took during lockdown, yet they're destroying it. There was a cocaine drug bust now in Durban of billions. Where are those drugs? Why, when they are destroyed, they are not being destroyed in public the same way they do with alcohol? They just announce that they are drugs which are found, this is how much they are worth, and then they take them. Those drugs still find the way back into the township. Why has nobody ever asked the question? We can see all of these drugs. Where are they being destroyed? It's not a big one. This is the second big one this year alone of drugs. Why? Police are involved in drugs. Politicians are involved with drug dealers. That's why you will never see the resolution of a drug problem. So we need to deal with that. And by dealing with that, you have to take the crime head on. We know the people, and we know who they are. What happened to police setting up traps? We know the target. We know who's messing up our society. Why can't we pay our people, the spies, the informers in the communities, enough money? There's too much unemployment. We can hire as many young people as possible in the township, give them a stipend of 5,000 as informers. Their job is not to fight any criminal or anything. They are going to pick up information. This is how it's going to be executed. Don't worry, boys. They will find us there. We don't stop them from committing. We wait for them to commit with dangerous weapons. We drop them and say there was no option. They had carrying a dangerous weapons. No, informers are given 500 rand, 1,000 rand to risk their life and the life of families. What happened to crime intelligence in South Africa? Do we have crime intelligence in South Africa? Because every police station must have a well-resourced, with slush fund, crime intelligence. Our people there, when we grew up, when we were training underground, they were telling us they are what we call village intelligence. There's no way something can happen in the village or in the township and the people don't know. But what is in for me?
All right. Ngibambele yona khona lapho because I also know ukuthi now my aspirations for the highest office in the land. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi ke how are those going? Masibuye.